Hello students, welcome back to your English class. I hope you all are doing well and keeping yourselves safe. Today we are going to read a story of a young boy who showed immense presence of mind and brilliant leadership skills to save his loved ones, his community, his village, his family from a disastrous situation. They could have been worse had this boy not found the leadership skills that he showed. Many a times we all get flustered when we are faced by problems, right? But this boy here, he thought on his feet, he was very quick with his thinking and very smart too. The topic that we are addressing today is from your supplementary reader. The title is Weathering the Storm at Arsuma. Now let's find out what this topic really is about. This story tells us about the collective efforts to weather the natural calamity. What is the meaning of the word weather? Weather is to face a hardship. Okay, so that is weathering. So this natural calamity, the super cyclone which struck Orissa. Arsuma is a place in Orissa. How people faced it and what role did Prashant play in that is what we are going to read. The main focus of the chapter is weathering, that is facing the storm, how people reacted to that storm and how did they rebuild from it. Okay, take a look at these pictures. What do you see? Flooded places, people have makeshift boats. They don't even have anything to make sure that they will travel through this water. People are sitting on the top of their houses, on the roofs, because everywhere there is water around. Water rushing and gushing into the houses. This is what a storm does to houses. Pakka houses can at least sustain the storm, but what happens to kacha houses? They can't even sustain that storm. They break apart, they fall apart, and people have no place to live. This kind of a storm struck Orissa. The wind speed was 260 kilometers per hour. 260 kilometers per hour. That speedometer, even the speedometer in your car would not show you that. So that amount of speed, 260 kilometers per hour, was hitting that area. Obviously, it would uproot trees, it would destroy everything that came in the way. And imagine the deaths. There were 45 deaths and the damage was worth 655 million. That is immense amount of trouble caused. This storm hit Arsuma on 27th October 1999. So we are going to study the story of this specific storm that hit this coastal town, village actually, in Orissa, and how Prashant reacted to it. Okay. Where is Arsuma? Take a look at this. Arsuma is a coastal village in Odisha. Okay. Coastal areas, we all know, are prone to lots of cyclonic storms. In India, when monsoons start, during that time, you see that the eastern coast of our country is hit by many cyclonic storms. Now let's read the chapter. This is a real life story which has been written by Harsh Mandar. Harsh Mandar was born on 17th April 1955. He is a writer and activist. He is an Indian author who is also a columnist and researcher, teacher and social activist. He's worked with survivors of mass violence and hunger. And he's also worked with homeless persons and street children. So that is the reason he may have got in contact with Prashant and he may have heard about his story and decided to write about the same. Why do you think he's written about it? Because he wants you to learn from it. What do we learn from it? Let's understand the theme and the message that the chapter gives us. The theme of the chapter revolves around one's willpower to get over one's sorrows, and service of mankind is the biggest healer. So you should forget about your own problems and work for the benefit of the mankind. That is what you learn from here. And also how your willpower helps you overcome any kind of difficulty. The chapter gives the message of brotherhood and compassion. Everyone has to face his or her own share of difficulties. However, helping the needy is the noblest deed. That is what the chapter teaches you. Now, who is the main character here? The protagonist is, now you all know what a protagonist is. You've all done story writing. Now he is a real protagonist, a real hero, real life hero. He is Prashant and he is 19 years old. So hardly 2 or 3 years older than you all, right? So this boy, Prashant, he is a resident of the village Kalikuda in Orissa, and he lost his mother, and he's a young boy. You do not expect him to know a lot in life. As I've mentioned many a times earlier, all the chapters, stories, let them be fictional, non-fictional, they are there in your syllabus for a reason. And the reason is to teach you. Literature always teaches you how to lead your life in a better manner. It gives you more experience that you can personally have. Right? It is rightly said you should learn from others' experiences, right? Rather than making all the faults on your own. So now, this is Prashant's experience. A frightening storm, a fearsome storm has struck Orissa. It's 27th October 1999, and heavy and incessant rain, continuous rain, is followed by that storm, which has uprooted even ancient trees. What are ancient trees? Even the oldest of the trees have been uprooted. You can hear the screams of people everywhere. Houses are washed away, and the destruction caused by the cyclone continues for 36 hours. So for 36 long hours, people cannot move from one place to another. Now, where is Prashant? Prashant is at his friend's house. At the time of cyclone, Prashant was at his friend's house who lived at the block headquarters. So block headquarters is what? Every area in our country is divided into separate blocks. So the headquarters, he must have gone there for some work of Arsama, which is 18 kilometers from Kalikuda. The house at which his friend's house, where he is filled neck deep by floodwater. So you cannot obviously stay in the house. You have to either be on the first floor, second floor if you have that, or you have to be on the roof. The building was made of brick and mortar, so it withstood. As I mentioned earlier, Pakka houses made of brick and mortar would withstand winds blowing at 350 kilometers per hour. The roof and the walls of the houses got damaged because of the uprooted trees. And how did they all survive? They sat on the roof, and luckily 2 of the trees, coconut trees, fell on the roof. So they plucked those coconuts and they had water and tender coconut from those. That is how they all survived for those 36 long hours. Now, after those hours, now Prashant is witnessing the destruction for the first time. And what does he see? He sees that a brown sheet of water covers everything. Take a look at the pictures that have been given with this. Few broken cement houses stood in some places. There were dead bodies, corpses. Dead bodies of humans are known as corpses. Then carcasses of dead bodies of animals, and uprooted trees were floating all around. Now imagine the scene that was in front of him. What would be his first thought? His first thought would be, my God, I'm so far away from my family. God knows what happened to them. God knows what happened in my village. So this boy is seeing so much of destruction in front of his eyes. Dead bodies, dead animals, and uprooted trees. Now Prashant decides to go back to his village. As we already established, his village was 18 kilometers from the place where he is right now. He is in Arsama, which is the block headquarters. Now he has to go back to the village. And the water, as it was mentioned earlier, is neck deep. So Prashant was worried about the well-being of his family. What did he decide to do? He was a very brave young fellow. He took a long sturdy stick and went back to his village. And why do you think he took the stick? Because when water is so high, you don't know about potholes or any kinds of holes, and you may fall into one. So it was a wise thing to do. With the stick, he would prod and he would see if the water was worth stepping into, and then he would step and go. He used the stick to locate the road and shallow path. He slowed down his pace where water was waist deep, and by swimming where he lost the road. So wherever he didn't find the road, he swam. After covering some distance, he found 2 friends of his uncle, and then they moved together. That is how he went back to the village. Now, let's find out what does he find out when he reaches the village. On reaching his village, his heart sank. What do you mean by heart sinking? That means getting terribly depressed. He could see only the remnants of the roof of his house. So his house was entirely destroyed or underwater because he could only see the roof. He feared his family might have died. So there was a Red Cross shelter. When this kind of tragedies happen, some NGOs or government agencies, now we have disaster management agency, those people go and put up tents and provide basic facilities to the people around so that they are taken care of. So he went to the Red Cross shelter. He saw his maternal grandmother who was weak with hunger. She welcomed him with outstretched hands and teary eyes. So first he found his Nani, maternal grandmother, who was weak and hungry, but she was extremely pleased to see Prashant because as Prashant was worried about his family, so was his family worried about him. They found it miraculous to see Prashant alive. Then he saw the rest of the villagers. 2,500 people were in grief. They were in sorrow. 86 people of his own village had died. So just his own village, 86 people had died. All 96 houses. So you assume that all the houses in his village were kacha houses. So all 96 houses were washed away. They were all surviving on green coconut, which were also going to finish in a while. Now what does Prashant plan to do? He's seen that people are in grief and sorrow, but they need to eat. Even though they've lost so many loved ones, but they still need to survive. So Prashant realizes that without food, nobody will survive. So he made arrangements for the first rice meal. How did he do that? He pressurized the village merchants. You see, village merchants hoard things. They hoard lots of food items and they have them. So these people went together. He took some young and elders of the village and went there to pressurize the merchant and got rice from there. Then they picked up broken branches and cooked the rice and had their first meal in 4 days. You see, after Prashant came there, these people were able to have a meal. So he went there and he took the mantle upon himself to relieve these people from the tragedy that they were facing. Prashant had also seen that his family was suffering, but he was strong, he thought quick, and he realized that without food, none of them would survive. Then the helicopters were passing on, taking food items with them. You see, if you've seen many times in news also, they show that wherever there are floods and roads are blocked and trains can't go, the food and basic items, medical help and all those, the parcels are dropped through air. But the helicopter would come and go without seeing these people. So Prashant wanted to send a message. So he thought, and what did he decide? He asked the children and villagers to lie on the ground with plates, empty plates on their stomach. And people in the helicopter got the message very clearly. They understood that these people didn't have any food to eat, and little bit of sand that was left above the flood water, the children lied down there with empty plates. So think, he was so bright, he could send a message across to the helicopter. And then they got regular supplies of food and necessities. People in the helicopter must have realized how difficult or this area needs help. Otherwise, maybe they would have not noticed. Now, so first thing, what did Prashant do? First was he got rice. Okay. Second, he got supply from the helicopter. Now third, now he's seen that there are many orphans. Obviously, these many people have died, so there must be children who do not have parents to take care. So he put up polythene sheets and made shelters for orphans. Women from the village were asked to take care of these orphans, and men were asked to get food and other material. So he divided the work. He asked the women to take care of the children and the men to get food and other material. Prashant convinced the woman to work in the Food for Work program, which was started by the NGO. So what is Food for Work? You work for the NGO, they will provide you food. So he sent the women for those works. Then he organized. Now he's not just looking after basic needs, he's also looking about the mental health of the children. Okay, because such a tragedy has struck them, they may be disturbed, right? So what does he do? He organizes sports events like cricket for children, and he himself plays with them to keep them all engaged so that they do not get worried. Then he sees that a resistance, some people that believe that one should not set up institutes for orphans and women. But what does Prashant believe? He believed that such institutions, children will grow up without love and widows would suffer from loneliness and stigma. So what did he plan? He thought that all the ladies who've lost their husbands and all the children who've lost their parents should be put together, so that the ladies have someone to look after and the children have someone who will take care of them. So they resettled these women and children in their own communities in new foster families, which were made of widows and orphans. In India, conditions of widows are not very good because they are not given the privileges that are given to every normal woman. So this was something revolutionary done by Prashant. Now, this is the story and we come to the end of it and we realize that the real hero of this entire scenario is Prashant. The bigger question that comes from this story is that how did Prashant show leadership skills? I've already given you 5 examples of that. Please make a note of it. Now, widows and orphans seek out the youthful face of Prashant because he was instrumental in resettling their lives. And Prashant became the face of hope and happiness. Helping the victims. Now, let's talk about Prashant himself. So far, Prashant was only helping people. Now, he himself realizes that when he helped the other people, his own sorrow was also taken care of. Right? So when you help other people, your own worries also cease because you get satisfaction out of helping other people. So that's the story for you. I hope you've understood the story well and take this example and follow that in your life too, that whenever you are struck with problems, you should think first, you should act first, and you should not let that problem be a cause of negative things in your life. Rather, you should turn out to be a leader like Prashant. I hope you all understood the chapter well, enjoyed it as well, and we'll discuss the question answers and any other doubt in the group. Thank you, children.